Last weekend, the largest gaming convention in the US was held, and with it, a major shift in the meta was felt.
We found out all the goodness about GenCon from Mike Hill, who was there in the middle of all the action.
We also take a moment to discuss the dominance of Mill in the North American Championships, and also Matthew Scott's win at his local store championship.
This is episode 98, Way of the Con.
You have been well trained.
No. You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
There is no try.
So, Kim, what is up with you and Star Wars/Star Wars Destiny?
Well, let's be honest. I had far less of an exciting week than the two of you did. So it doesn't matter what I did in Destiny. I don't think it can compare to what you guys did.
You guys,
it was fairly quiet, honestly. So,
all right.
Playing with, I did build, I think I mentioned this last show, I built a Gungan deck. I'm just trying to find some time to fiddle with it and get comfortable with it before store champs here locally for me. So that I can be like that cool guy who's joining us tonight. I don't know which side of me he's on. But I can be like that cool guy, Matthew Scott, who brought home a win this past week.
A big W.
Yeah.
Matt, why don't you go first then?
Yeah, man, what'd you play?
Yeah.
I played Kylo Pryce. Actually.
Mikey.
It worked good for me. I had it was good. It was an okay day after all. So that's pretty much it. Destiny, that's like the only Destiny I played in the last week. I hadn't been playing very much recently. So it's kind of nice to get out and play a few games.
And then win. Like,
I
love how you're so humble about it. Like, I just went out and I just played a few games. And then I walked out with some really cool swag because congrats to you, man.
Yeah, thanks. See, I kind of have to feel humble about it because I had like a super terrible attitude going in. Like I thought I was going to go 0-4 and just have an awful day, and then I went 4-0-1 instead. So
that's awesome. Pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the deck real quick, just for those people like myself who think that Anakin is still the better pair.
You think Kylo Anakin is the better pair?
I still do. Honestly, I don't think it's worth those 3 cards.
Well, okay, maybe, but that saved the day for me. So it's a typical Kylo Pryce build. I think some people might include riot batons, maybe, but other than that, I think it's pretty standard. Those 3 cards. Okay, Tactical Mastery didn't actually do much for me on the day, but the best defense was the MVP. That card has always been crazy good. It's better still that they don't want to target Pryce first. And so you're getting to move it onto the character they don't want to target and remove 2 other dice. It's awesome. So I best defensed I think my hardest matchup of the day was the last one. We were the 2 3-0s going for the win. And it was a Thrawn Snoke deck. And he managed to get a 2 resource on Thrawn and a 3 on the Chance Cube, and I best defensed them. And that shut him down for the round. And that was round 1. So that's a turn down. And then I think I hit Kylo's ability every time in that game. Just got lucky. Called red. And so I mean he never could catch back up. So I think it was worth it. Her ability is also nuts, and her die is just good. I mean, the resource side I'll take, the 2 damage I'll take, the special is amazing.
Right.
So I'm a big fan. I had a lot of people ask me about why not Kylo Snoke instead, actually. So I know some people are loyal to Kylo Anakin. Evidently, there's a lot of Kylo Snoke fans, which I don't see, but.
Yeah, I don't see
I like Kylo Pryce.
I definitely don't see the Kylo Snoke thing working. In my opinion, it is good because he's and it's 3 die. So you're really only using Snoke for his ability, right? In that deck. Yeah. So
you still get 4 dice because Snoke's second die is ridiculously undercosted.
Okay.
He's 11-13. But I mean, but it doesn't really matter because you're using him for his ability, right? Like
Right.
his die is okay, but it can't finish games.
No, it can't.
So you're hurting
do it by
Kylo,
himself.
and he's your only real damage output. I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd probably put a bit of redeploy in it so that he has a chance, but I don't know. I'm not
between the two, I'd still take Anakin over Snoke.
So
I don't think you convinced him, Matt.
What do you think Anakin brings that's better?
I just think he brings just as much aggro as Kylo does, and either way you can finish that match with either character. And sometimes like, obviously Kylo I think is the right choice because of his ability, but you still see people gunning down Anakin first because it is so, I think they're so balanced aggressively. I just don't like Anakin's special as much. Because in that deck, you're almost always running neutral cards. There's very few villain cards, and the villain cards that you are running, you want to play every single time. So that's a really tough one. I don't know. I like that pairing a lot better, and maybe it's because I feel comfortable with it, and I've just been loyal to that emo kid deck for so long now. I'm having trouble letting go. I think for my store championship, though, I will play this deck just to see if those three cards really truly do make a difference. I would like that tactical mastery rolling out Kylo and his big die and being able to resolve those die quickly, because inevitably those heirloom 3s or those Maul Saber 3/4s, whatever they are almost always going to get controlled like right away. So if you can tactical mastery them out, even better.
So I pretty much always roll Pryce in first. Especially turn 1, that's generally the first thing I do. Hopefully I have a logistics in hand. So I roll her out first. If I hit a resource side, that's awesome. That changes the game for me round 1, because I'm going to have 4 resources to play with, which is huge. But then in subsequent turns, I still usually roll her out first. And if you hit a special side, or if you're lucky, 2 special sides, that tactical mastery becomes super powerful. Because you get to roll in, and even if you whiff, you're going to get some damage there before they can do anything about it, as long as you control the battlefield. And your opponent might mitigate your Pryce specials. That might even be the right thing to do. But realistically, the special doesn't deal damage, right? They want to save mitigation for those Kylo dice and those upgrade dice that do damage. And tactical mastery, it creates a wicked play there. I kind of wish that I had run 2 of them. I normally do run 2 of them, and I'm wondering if that's why it didn't make much of a difference this weekend. It's just that it didn't show up that often. And it's good for a while because, unlike in a lot of other decks, your red character stays alive generally longer. So I can usually play that all game, because they're not usually going to drop Pryce first.
And then you're mainly looking to override those 2 costs quickly with these 3 costs big upgrades, and then getting that redeploy. Or
so ideal opening hand sees a crossguard and or a Shoto, and then I can upgrade. I mean, I can overwrite the crossguard later. I like crossguard just for the free damage that you get as soon as you play it. That's mostly why it's in there, and it's an okay weapon to have. But as soon as I get something better, it's going to be replaced by an heirloom or dagger of Mortis.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how I'm playing it too with that Kylo Anakin. I'm putting these 2 costs on Kylo and then overriding them quickly and until Kylo gets killed, and then they're like redeployed right to Anakin, who is then stacked and in my opinion can finish the game. So it's almost the exact same upgrade list that I would run in the other pairing. It's really those 3 cards is why you're changing, and that special side too is pretty enticing.
It's good, and I like that I can load up Pryce if I need to instead of Kylo, which is very situational. But like for some reason at our store championship we had 2 solo Sabines, and I had to face one of them. So I actually loaded up Pryce instead of Kylo because against solo Sabine, if she's going to tenacity, she has to tenacity Kylo, right? If you tenacity Pryce instead, then I get to roll in Kylo and I get 2 damage because I'm gonna hit yellow. So she has to tenacity Kylo, and that's fine. Pryce is still super dangerous. I still have 2 melee sides, 1 on each die, and now I have some weapons on her. So tenacity Kylo and let Pryce kill you instead.
Nice.
So it's kind of versatile there.
It's a great deck, man. I don't regret playing Kylo Anakin at Worlds, but if I had played another deck, this definitely would have been it. This was my between the two. I mean, I made the best decision I could. Kylo Anakin is what I knew the best, so that's why I ran it. Great deck though, man. Congratulations on your Sword Champ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll save my Destiny stuff when we go to the main topic and talk about Way of the Con. So why don't we get into the news first, and then we'll get on to the main topic.
Let's do some news.
All right.
Let me take that back, huh? You'll find what you need.
All right. There wasn't too much news from this week. Obviously,
it's a little quiet.
Yeah, we got the news from the worlds that's excuse me. From
it's
GenCon.
your world now, Mike,
yes,
but it wasn't Worlds.
Yes. Sorry. I was
but
reading,
it was the FFG's
I was reading something
in-flight.
while I was talking, and I couldn't do 2 things at once. From GenCon,
So FFG's in-flight report is what you're referring to, right?
No, I was referring to the deck list. First, we got the news about the winning deck lists from GenCon.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then we also got a little bit of information from the in-flight report. Little tough to share that information because all we really have is like kind of crusty screen grabs from the stream. They haven't really showed any clear pictures of these yet, but we can show them and talk about them.
Interesting too. You know what I mean? Like they made the announcement there, but they didn't follow it up.
No.
With any kind of press release at all on that.
Nope.
I mean, they've released stuff about. They have released. I think. I'm pretty sure they released something. Also from the in-flight report for X-Wing about that ginormo Star Destroyer.
Oh, that's for Armada.
Cool.
Oh, my bad. Armada, you're right.
Yeah, it's so bad. I saw it in person. It's like this.
Yeah.
It's so huge. I can't even see my hands in the frame because it's so huge.
I'm surprised that they didn't turn around and make one of their normal. And as soon as I say this, it's either dropping on the internet right now or it'll drop tomorrow. But
For sure.
Yeah, I was disappointed that they didn't follow that up with an article because generally with the in-flight report, they announce everything and then you get articles like right afterwards.
Right.
And you did for most stuff, but they didn't say much about Destiny in the in-flight report. It was just kind of, this is still a thing, it's happening, it's coming out later.
And I feel like they've done that to us twice now.
Yeah.
Like,
hey,
they did it at
Worlds.
Worlds.
Least it's not Armada. Armada waited a year to hear anything.
It's because of
that's
this.
True.
It's because of this right
That's
here.
what they care about. I'm not going to lie. That's going to attract players from all CCG types.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when we hit that lull after U.S. Nationals and all we really have are regionals and galactic quali. I mean, like, I feel like that's going to pull some people in. It's got an amazing price point, and I've watched a couple playthroughs so far.
Yeah, $9.95 for a deck, and that is the deck you play. Like, there is no deck building. You can't... Like, you could obviously buy more decks to try and get a different deck style that you like or a better draw, in theory, but they're really supposed to be very balanced, and it seems like a very fun game. I've probably played about 6 matches so far, and every time they're fun. You're basically... You're gaining resource or favor so that you can forge these keys in a sense, and that's why it's called Key Forge. And then after you forge 3 keys, that's how you win the game. And your character determines the amount of resource that you need to gain to forge the key. And you do things like trapping people's resources and taking them away or destroying them or stuff like that. So it's a very fun game. Look out for a review. I'm going to do a little special on that for everybody. So that you can kind of see a little bit more of how it looks like, or what the cards look like, and how the game is played.
Now, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the creator of that was also one of the creators for Magic the Gathering? Is that right?
The creator.
It was the creator.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Richard Garfield.
Yep.
I saw him in a playthrough, and he continued to say that certain things entered tapped, and that made me chuckle a little bit. I called him out on it, but
they're definitely
cool.
A lot of the stuff is harken from like Magic the Gathering, which is it's like the original LCG or CCG, right? So it's everything's gonna kind of harken back to that. But it's very
cool.
Very cool. And then,
I think you're right. I think that's why we didn't hear anything else, because that was the main focus of that event.
For sure, they're not going to overshadow their like headlining
shiny
CCG.
new toy.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
we did see a couple.
I said it, but we still got a few goodies in there.
Yeah, we got a few goodies. They showed the Millennium Falcon and a new X-wing.
That makes 3 Falcons, right? Which I find interesting. But
we got a card with Palpatine on it. We can't quite see what it is, and then I don't know what that card is on the right. Oh, it looks like Maul, but
it's the generic. I forgot what it's called.
Mother. I don't know.
Night Brother, maybe.
Oh, okay. Maybe Night.
Does that sound right? I don't know.
That is one Twisted Family tree.
Yeah,
that's
there
all
we
I'm
go.
gonna say.
Chet says Night Brother.
Mine was cleaner. Oh, sorry, Impulse. We didn't use your picture.
I
says
blame
his
Mike.
Picture's cleaner. Yeah. I was on a flight during the in-flight report. It was a.
I mean, go ahead.
Kim?
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was gonna say I know that there's been some chatter. Like we've got, I think you mentioned the Qui-Gon already. There's a Vader die lurking, but we don't know if it's really another Vader or if it's.
Right.
I think one of you guys who said it before we went live. Somebody had a good speculation as to what that die
jinxed
could
it.
also be.
Yeah, I jinxed it. I said it's not going to be a Vader die. It's going to be a Darth title, and it's going to be like the dark side version of Master of the Council.
That does seem like
It doesn't seem improbable, right?
No, I agree.
And honestly, the thing is, like, why a new Vader right now? I know we don't want him to rotate out. But that makes him a perfect addition to the first set next year.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, really, where's Vader been? I mean, I haven't seen him in a deck in a while, so it's not like it's.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see him competitive again. So that's a compelling reason to maybe include him. Although, I don't know, if you just want to see him more, maybe make him a point cheaper. He'd be all over the place.
but that's not going to happen.
There'd be some gross matchups.
Yeah, there for sure.
I might be able to do it with these negative plot cards coming in the next set.
Yeah, that's another very cool thing they announced. Negative plot cards, and then also attachments on vehicles or supports, which is going to be pretty awesome.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I'm actually wondering if that plot that we see in that photo there is the negative plot.
Oh, maybe.
It sounds kind of gross, and I didn't quite, like, you can't read all of it, so I have no idea what it says, but it kind of sounds like maybe you pick a character, maybe like each person picks a character and all damage dealt to them is unblockable or something. I don't know. It was hard to make out, but it looks like it could be kind of gross. I wonder if it's...
Wow.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
there was somewhere I saw this week, and I apologize that I should have made a note of it, and I didn't. But as we're talking about rotation, I know I'm a little over here, but there was somebody that came in like third at a store champs playing an Awakenings only deck. So it's still feasible. Like it can happen.
Yeah.
But I think this new stuff is really going to, and I think that's all they really did was highlight that last announcement and give us a few more sneak peeks of. There were a couple photos that I saw floating around the interwebs where somebody got, I think that's where we saw the Vader die. There was a couple other angles of one of the boxes at the FFGs.
Oh,
if I remember correctly.
And just for everybody, I made a prediction 2 weeks ago saying that to destroy a vehicle, you would most likely need to deal damage to it equal to its cost. And I can't confirm, but I have confirmed that that will be the case. So it's a little insider tip that I got while I was at the con. And it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Otherwise, you'd have to introduce all new cards to replace the old ones that would have some sort of health on it or something.
Yeah.
So
cool.
That's interesting.
It's gonna the upgrades can probably change that adding shields and maybe raising the cost of the vehicle. But we'll see. We'll see when the official rule comes out. Maybe that's why that
Falcon is like 6. Now, Impulse has a good question as to, is this the first time we've seen FFG call the system for Destiny a dice duel system? I feel like maybe early on they might have used that phrase.
They did. It's not new, and it led to a lot of speculation early on that they would acquire other IPs for it.
Right.
I found it very interesting to see that pop up that way again, because we haven't really heard them call it a dice duel system in a while.
Right.
And then suddenly they did. And I wonder if that means maybe they have something in the works, but I don't know. What would you even...
Different IPs?
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is. Well, but they own some great IPs.
They do.
They did.
That's true. I mean, but they still have Game of Thrones that...
They have Lord of the Rings.
And they have Lord of the Rings.
Oh, they do have Game of Thrones. Yeah.
We'll see. That would be pretty interesting, though.
And now they have this Keyforge stuff. Very interesting that came out of FFG and not Wizards of the Coast. But
so other than news, I don't think we had anything major. I'm
telling you, it's probably dropping right now while we're doing this.
Well, of course,
one that likes
right?
to do it.
Yeah.
I'll check. I'll make sure. But
yeah, but as always during the news, we like to remind people that we are currently running a charity for the Nova Open, the charitable foundation. All proceeds go to supporting them and the charities that they support, and then 50% of it goes to us to help underwrite Worlds coverage. So if you find it in your heart to donate, head over to streamelements.com/thechancecube/tips, and you can send your donations there.
And can I just say, over GenCon, I saw a ton of people complaining about how there was no streaming of the GenCon event.
Yes.
And my first thought was, you just have to part with a little bit of money, like $1 for everybody who's going to watch that stream would probably easily cover it. So I don't know. It's good to remember that.
Really, $1 would, because we got up to 1,500 viewers, I believe, on our stream last year. So that would easily cover it. So
yep, and that is the catch of it. We love streaming it, but to get you a good stream, you got to have a good internet connection, and that's not coming off a Wi-Fi device. That is a hard plug into the convention center, and those do not come. They don't hand those out like candy, or even promos, or any of that kind of stuff. So we want to bring it to you. We just need your help to do it.
Yep.
Mike, I just can't seem to get the cards I need in the booster packs I bought. I'm still missing a Mother Talzin, a Darth Maul, and I need some more battle droids. That 5-wide droid deck isn't going to build itself, and I have all these extra Yodas.
Seriously, Kim, I told you, check out Armada Games. You can buy and sell Destiny cards on their website, shoparmada.com. It's just a few simple clicks and bam, you are done. I used it just the other day, and now I got two Maul Sabers heading my way.
Hey, what are you guys talking about? We're in the middle of a break here.
Jason, you know how you've got all those extra cards from all those booster boxes you open? Mike says you can sell them online super easy.
No way, seriously? How? I've got to make room before this next set comes out.
Jason, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, Armada Games has just what you're looking for. You can buy and sell your Destiny singles all from the comfort of your living room. Pre-order the latest sets of boosters and find the droids you are looking for. You can also check out their selection of Destiny accessories. And you'll get free shipping on orders over $75. For an even better deal, be sure to use the coupon code TheChanceCube and receive 5% off your Destiny purchase. Visit their website at shoparmada.com. Armada Games. Get in here and game.
But you know what I always say. Speak softly and drive a big tank.
So Mike got to take a little trip, a good chunk across the United States.
Little trip.
For you this past week, and go to the biggest gaming destination in the United States. I don't think that this one is as big as Essen, but it's certainly it's not the biggest in the world, but it's the biggest in the US by far. He had 60,000 plus other friends to hang out with.
The best 4 days in gaming, and I can say it definitely is the best 4 days in gaming.
I believe it, but a little claustrophobic.
You don't like everybody is so nice. Everybody like from different walks of life. You see like
cool.
You see like the uber nerd, like the dude that sold comic books on The Simpsons, and then you see like the hottest woman you've ever seen in cosplay. Like, and they're all there to board game and have fun, and it's just a giant community where everybody is very accepting. I think everybody's ostracized there usually, so everybody is very inclusive when you're there. It's just like
that's true.
It's the perfect atmosphere. Like I will go there forever. Like I loved my experience. I want to share it with everybody. It was crazy. For the amount of Destiny I played just alone. So I played 8 rounds on the main day. I didn't make second day, unfortunately. I was super close.
We were rooting for you, man.
I couldn't close my last 2 games. It was just the dice got cold and my draws got really, really bad. And that's just, you can't win like that with Evo kids. Otherwise I played perfect Destiny. I had no misplays, so I'm not mad at myself. I honestly thought I was going to go 0-4, and I went 3-0 in my first 3 matches. So it felt
that's
good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I went 4-4. So it was a good day. Then the next day I played in 2 draft events, one put on by FFG and then another one put on by the guys over at Nerf Herders.
Cool.
Which is pretty awesome. I also played in a sealed event that was very fun. And then I've played tons of side games. I think I played probably 25 matches all weekend in 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
just throughout
awesome.
the gaming hall and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just, find fans and people that wanted to play, and we'd play matches. It was a blast. I would recommend it to anybody who could get out there. The competition was great. There was some really, really good players out there. And then there was a lot of players out there too that just wanted to come out and have fun. So it was very inclusive again for everybody, which is very awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, and we certainly saw a big upset for the win.
Yeah.
This was the North American Championships is what was held at GenCon this year. Mm-hmm. So that's what Mike was referring to as his day one. And somebody predicted it because I've seen it shared again on Facebook that they called it. But I don't know if you guys did. I didn't predict Mill to win the North American Championships by any means. But Mill players rejoiced in the streets, I heard.
I did not predict Mill, but as soon as I showed up, day one, everybody was like worried about Mill. That was what it was on everybody's mind. Nobody would stop talking about, oh man, this person's playing Mill, this person's playing Mill. Oh, I've seen 4 Mill decks in my first 4 matches. So it was just saturated, and it wasn't just one style of Mill either. You would see villain Mill, you would see hero Mill, like just it was crazy. I started to get nervous about it when everybody else started talking about it, because there's just like a stir in the room. Everybody just got so nervous, and
murmur.
For good reason, because Mill is not slow anymore, and that was its biggest problem, is how slow it was.
Yep.
And now it can take you turn 4. I've seen some Mill decks finish turn 5, like at the latest.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, 1 or 2 of those turns are probably going to be hyperspace before you do anything. Mm-hmm. So it's that much faster.
Yeah, that card.
That hyperspace jump.
I got hit with that at least 4 times this weekend, and it hurts every single time.
That card's maddening. That card's maddening when you get it played on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very tough. Very tough you can't play around it. The only thing I had started doing is against Mill players was discarding whenever I could. Whenever I saw a chance to discard, I was taking cards out of their hand to try and find things
that's a good
like
idea.
that.
That's critical, because in a Mill deck, almost every card they're holding is a staple. Whereas in an aggro deck, if they have a couple of weapons out and you discard a weapon from their hand, that's unfortunate, but they'll probably get by just fine without it. But if you take a card or 2 out of a Mill deck, it can be pretty devastating.
Yeah.
Especially if you're hitting second chance, hyperspace jump.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Or remove 2 dice showing the same side, same number. Everybody's favorite card.
Yeah.
Do not say its name in this presence. I hate that card so much.
Fired up about
Or, and I have also noticed too that first turn against any sort of vehicle deck, I was always taking my discards because my 2 discards on Kylo because you're digging for those vehicles quickly, and they're hard mulliganing for those 2-drop vehicles.
Yeah.
So if you can strip them, that's almost game for them because their main characters almost never can finish. So
I used to always be a player that would, if I got a discard, I would re-roll it, and I really changed that approach.
Yeah.
In the last within the last set or so, because it's helped. Like, it's turned the tide a couple of times because I've been able to get key cards out of somebody's hand. So it certainly was helpful. Now that I losing to Mill is the most frustrating way to lose for me. That's why it drives me crazy.
Yeah. Because
I feel like I should have been able to outthink it, but with it moving as fast as it is, like it is something to be a little concerned about. Not in a bad way, but you have to be prepared for it, I guess is the better way to say that.
You almost you have to be more willing to take all of your dice for whatever rolls out. Because if you like, the only thing you don't want is shields when playing against a mill. But if you get some resource management or you get some discard, then I would almost always take those dive sides. Don't try and rush the aggro. You don't need to. They're not going to kill you. They're not going to aggro you out. So as long as you can mitigate their discard and their resource generation, then you can finish the game just playing aggro with what sides you roll out, or re-rolling those shields because you don't need those.
But that's where I struggle though. Like, I swear one of these days I'm going to get a disclaimer from James at my local store to vouch that I'm not fibbing or stretching the truth when I tell you guys how poorly I roll sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it baffles him. And that's what makes it hard for me. I can't hit the roll when I need it. And playing against Mill, now I can't pitch to reroll either. So now I'm in a pickle.
Well, that's what I like about Pryce, by the way.
Yeah.
Pryce fixes my dice because I don't roll damage either.
But another thing you can do is stuff cards in your deck. If knowing that Mill is going to be in your meta, stuff cards in your deck that are going to give you focus sides. You can get focus sides for super cheap for like 1-cost drops and stuff like that. So and more resources so that you can pay for cards that are going to give you more focus or extra turns.
Maz's Goggles is crazy good. That card is so good. It's 1 cost, it has resources, it has focus, it has a 2 focus, and it has a mill.
Yeah, there's tons. Or play a crystal ball, 1-cost drop, focus, resource plus 1 resource, and after you activate the character, you may look at the top card of a deck, so you can see what's coming from your mill opponent. You can see if a hyperspace is coming into their hand, and then focus down into some discard. I think that's gonna start being a very imperative card against these mill decks. And had I seen mill coming more than it did, like if I saw 1 or 2 mill during the day, it wouldn't have been an issue. But you're seeing 4 or 5 in 8 games, like it's getting a little tough, and you're gonna have to start playing against it and really building towards it.
And that's really not a deck you had to put in a gauntlet before, right? Yeah. Like you weren't prepped. We weren't prepping for that.
Right.
I think it makes something like Vandalize a really good card to consider, because there's a couple of like linchpin cards in those mill decks, especially in the Yoda Anakin Cassian one that won. Anakin's Pod Racer is super important. Force Meditation is super important, and if you can get one of those out, it would be pretty helpful. So
yeah, and just to remind everybody, Vandalize is a 1-cost neutral yellow that reads, remove any number of your dice equal to the cost of a supporter upgrade and play to discard it.
Yeah.
So that's huge on any sort of focusing support or upgrade or resource generating support or upgrade. And
it's not a dead draw in your matchups that are not against Mill. It'll get rid of an ancient saber or something. So,
or something even bigger like a mortis, dagger mortis, or an heirloom. I mean, that would be huge. They save their resources, they take turns to get that thing down, and then you just take it away. What's the one crafted where it must go on an exhausted character? Right? So you play it on a crafted, and they never even get to roll that thing out, which would be
or a
super
second chance.
Irritating. Yeah, or a second chance. Ooh, that would be so irritating against second chance. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a good play. I didn't think about that one. Oh, I hate
it's a very different meta than conversations we had a year ago. 6 months ago, even.
To me, that just screams healthy meta. That screams.
Oh yeah, I think so. I totally agree with that. I would much rather see this multitude of character pairings floating up to the top. And nobody liked. Well, if you did, I'm sorry, but the majority of people didn't like seeing the same decks win time after time after time after time. And so you can no longer say, oh, it's Pomaz winning all the store championships. Oh, it's Sabine Ezra winning all the store championships. I like this a lot better. And you have to take a moment and really plan it out, test correctly, get a lot of reps in to be prepared for all those different decks that you're going to see. Now you're preparing for a style more than that specific character matchup.
I think that's what we've been saying since the beginning. You definitely just have to test against different archetypes of decks rather than specific decks. So, healthy, super healthy meta. Both of you know who Tom Vassell is, correct?
I do know who Tom Vassell is.
So, for those of you who don't know, he is a podcaster and YouTube guy. He's a
small celebrity.
He's like one of the gods of board games, I would say.
It's true. I would say, the channel that he is involved in
Dice Tower
is one of the largest.
Yes. So, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Tom Vassell was standing there. Nobody was around him. So I walked up and introduced myself. And I told him how, like, listening to him kind of helped me, like, gain my confidence to be able to start podcasting and stuff like that. He's like, oh, cool. What do you podcast about? And I told him Star Wars Destiny. And he goes, oh, people still play that game?
Right. So
I had a similar experience with him and Sam at Origin.
Oh, it was...
Despite his... You should have said, I think more people play it than play Dice Masters.
He tried to tell me about Dice Masters. It's like, I know about Dice Masters. Nobody plays
it's
that
dead.
anymore.
No, yeah.
They all come to Origins. There's one little corner. They all play there. That's the only time I see it talk.
I've been thinking about this for a while, right? Do you watch Tom's? Yes. He has like a variety show weekly called Board Game Breakfast.
Board Game Breakfast drives me crazy, but yes.
Yes. So at the end of Board Game Breakfast, you can submit a Tom is wrong kind of thing.
There you go.
I've been feeling for a long time, like the Chance Cube, collectively, we need to get together and put out a video. Tom is wrong, that Dice Masters is better than Destiny, and here's why.
That's awesome.
Agree. Yes.
We could totally do that.
Yes.
I had a buddy recently that was the Tom is wrong person. Like, he had recorded a video, and it's somebody I play with board games here locally. Was the Tom is wrong guy. I can't remember what it was about, though. I can't remember what game it was. I think they did a review on it many moons ago, first set, and I don't think Dice Tower's talked about it since.
No, they only did the original review. I remember them talking about it. I remember them talking about it on the podcast. They had got some review copy, and they were talking about it, and that's where I originally heard about it. So it was because of them is the reason I play, and he's asking me if anybody plays anymore. It led to a very good conversation about why the meta is not dead and why I think it's continuing to grow and why I think we should put more effort into it and FFG should be focusing on it more. So it was great, but that is my Tom Vassell story.
Nice. He's a very approachable guy that'll chat with you about games, which is cool. I'm glad that he.
But I've also heard that he is kind of a dick. But. And then I kind of see why, but I don't think he means to do it on purpose. I think that's
I don't think so either.
I think it just comes off that way.
Yeah, Matt mentioned his board game breakfast that they put out every Monday, and there was one a couple weeks ago that was about reviewing the review, And it was sort of like, hey, when I make a review on something, I've stated my point, and that's the last I'm going to say about it. Like, not that I won't chat with you, but I'm not going to get into internet arguments about it. Like somebody, and so I was like, I actually think that's because I don't read a lot of the remarks that come on reviews after I do them because I've already said my piece.
Can't. So before we kind of wrap this up, is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about with Gen Con or had questions about or anything like that?
I was trying to think without Jason's not here to scold me and not talk to you about board games, but what was your? So I'll try to keep it Destiny related. But what was your out of the whole thing that you played? What was your favorite matchup?
My favorite matchup. First match of the day, day one, Kylo Anakin mirror match. That was my favorite match of the day. I cannot remember the girl's name, but if you are watching today, she says you watch the show. Hello, I'm sorry that I spanked you. It was a tough match. She rolled poorly the whole game, and I rolled perfect. So that was a tough match for her. She ended up doing well though on the day. I think she did 4-4, same as me. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Favorite match. Anything else?
Matt, you got anything?
Yeah, what outside of Destiny did you find at Gen Con that has you really excited? We won't go too far down that rabbit hole because I know Jason is listening.
People are gonna get mad at me, but Lightseekers is really,
I like Lightseekers.
I haven't got into that yet, but I'm curious.
It's fun.
I'm curious. I really don't need another thing to suck my life out of me. But
it's so good.
Lightseekers is good. It's fun.
That's got
I should have told you to check out Ash's Rise of the Phoenixborn while you were there, just because it's a very interesting.
I own it.
Do you? I have it too. I don't play it as often as I'd like, but I know they had some competitive things for it there. They did.
And then back here, I don't know if you can see it. It's this.
Oh, his hall.
Hey, the sequel to Ice Cool.
Yeah,
that's a great game.
That's awesome.
This right here is Cthulhu Wars, and the box is like 30 pounds, and the minis are as big as my head, and I'm really excited to paint that. And
is that Azul or is that the next version of Azul? It's the original Azul.
Yeah, Azul's there.
Stick with the original version of Azul.
Sagranda's there.
Sagrada, yeah, those are both good.
Did you get both of those are on my game shelf downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
big
awesome.
hits. Ice Cool will be a great one that you can play with your kiddos. Yeah. But it is a super fun dexterity game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And you can buy if you want to get really crazy, you buy the Ice Cool. And they actually fit together. Like
I was going to ask about that.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
They had it at the convention. They had both of them put together, and it was
nice.
It was massive.
That game was stupid fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the dudes
were
doing trick shots, like they were jumping like 2 rooms and going through doors and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
I need to break out my copy again. It's been a while. I am terrible at that game.
And then, lastly,
I love flicking games like that.
Oh, yeah. Dexterity games are the best. But lastly, before we go, I have to thank a few people and kind of give some shout outs to all the people that I met out there. I'm not going to do last names so that people don't get embarrassed or whatever, but Austin, Michael, Drew, the brothers, Jenna, Toby, Erica, Jason, and all the guys from Nerf Herders, Megan from FFG, all the content creators that I met and got to play games with, the guys from Artificery, Hyperloop, stuff like that. All my buddies at Cascade Games, Jeremy, our beloved lead designer.
Did you get to see him?
I got to talk to him. It was pretty cool.
He's a great guy to talk to. Was he not? He's so much.
He's so nice. Yeah.
People think he seems standoffish, and he is a quiet guy.
He's quiet.
But if you walk up to him and start chatting, because he came up to us at Worlds, like he's super fun to talk to.
He knew exactly who I was. When I was walking up to him, he said my name. So it was really cool to see that they're obviously watching. These people are caring about the meta, I hope. And then finally, I wanted to thank the guys over at Dragon Shield. They took care of me, and we got some cool stuff going on. So,
nice.
Yeah,
awesome.
And I'm sure I forgot a ton of people. Obviously, Impulse. We got to play some games together. That was very cool. And yeah, that's about it for main topic. So why don't
all right,
we
buddy. Next year, I'm gonna put it on my list. I'm gonna make it. Like I
say that every year.
I have to roll back my Origins. Origins and Gen Con are so close that I haven't. My bank account is not recovered from what I've done at Origins before before GenCon comes along.
Next year might be a motorcycle trip out there. I don't know. We'll see.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the questions for the week and last week.
There can be no mistakes this time.
Sweet. So last week we kept with the topic. We were talking about GenCon, with it being right around the corner. So we wanted to know what you wanted to hear most out of this event. And I can't say that I'm terribly surprised by a lot of the options, because that's exactly what I was hoping to hear more. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I was really hoping this time in the in-flight report, FFG would talk about Destiny. And they did, so I'll give them that, because last time they were like, we have a game called Destiny, and they didn't even mention it. After everybody came to Worlds and came a day early, and I think maybe we're still salty about that. But it still wasn't a ton. Maybe the third time's the charm, I don't know. But Keelan and Kurt had both mentioned a new draft set, which I think would be... I have a feeling one is coming, but I'm assuming probably not until after rotation. I don't see one coming again for a little while. I mean, we really haven't had rivals all that long.
I wonder if it will even come before the white boxes rotate out. Because otherwise it would be so confusing, right? Like, which draft kit do you bring? Can you bring either? Can you bring both? It'd be really weird. So I bet that doesn't happen until the white boxes rotate out.
I agree.
Yeah. Now Eric had mentioned, and I think this is something in development. An online mobile app. He said an online mobile app would be dope, specifically. And they already have that app for. I'm looking at the game. Nope, that's Legion. Imperial Assault.
Imperial Assault. Yeah.
Imperial Assault. So FFG already has that companion app for Imperial Assault, so I feel like they're dipping their toe in that. I don't know to what extent, though, that they would really build... It's not going to be like a companion app for Destiny. It would have to be something different, and I don't know what that would be yet.
Okay.
Something that takes the place of the tabletop simulator?
I had a really good conversation with somebody at GenCon about this and why they don't have it. EA has the rights to all Star Wars digital content.
Electronic. Oh. I don't think they're going to pry that out of EA's hands anytime soon.
Well, it just depends on how they do it, because again, they did do one for Imperial Assault.
But it's like...
It's just a companion app, but I mean...
Yeah.
That's a pretty strong companion app. I mean, it plays a player of the game basically. It plays the Overlord player for you, so that you can turn it into a pure co-op. So I don't know. I mean, I would have said previously, no way, they don't do companion apps. They leave it to the community to do. But X-Wing 2.0 is about to drop, and it will have an app, because all of the point values and stuff for cards are going to be on the app instead of printed on the card.
Yep,
that's right.
And I don't know.
That's one more thing.
I could imagine. Yeah, right. I could imagine a future where Destiny point values aren't printed on the card, because when they balance of the Force stuff,
true,
you don't have to worry about it. Right. It's just in the companion app, and it's correct. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think it's further down. And then Mike had mentioned a new 2-player game, which I think that was such a smart move for them, and I've told Jeremy that on more than one occasion. I've talked to people that are just in the board game community who are not interested in playing a CCG, that own the 2-player game and is on their shelf, and they take it down every once in a while and they have a match and they enjoy the game that way. Like, they could care less about the competitive scene. So I think that was a smart move on FFG's part to provide something like that to an even more casual gamer. But at some point they're going to have to update it. And I think kind of like what you guys said with the draft set, I wouldn't think they would do that until this one cycles.
Right. I kind of wonder how successful that 2-player kit was for retailers. Like, I feel like it sold like crazy, but man, I've seen just about every store that carried them clearance a bunch of them.
For about $8.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know it's because they pumped out crazy numbers of them, but I don't know. I hope it wasn't a disappointment to retailers. That's like anybody who gets in the game and they ask, what should I buy? I start by saying two copies of a 2-player game. That's it. Buy 2 of those and then go from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does a better job of introducing the mechanics and being balanced as opposed to the starter sets necessarily.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. So that's what we thought about last week's. Now this coming week, we're going to start looking ahead. We're going to have hopefully our guest for the show. We'll be talking about the Nova Open. So that's what I'm asking you guys this week. The next big event here in the States, I know that's not in every country, but here in the States, is the U.S. National Championship at the Nova Open. So what character pairing do you think is going to bring home the win there? Are we going to see Mill do it again? Are we going to have enough time for the meta to adjust and be prepared for Mill? I think there's enough time because Nova Open isn't until it's basically Labor Day weekend.
I definitely see Mill getting played around because a ton of people are going to bring it. Obviously now it won a huge championship, so obviously people are going to just net deck it and bring a ton of Mill. I see it played around fairly easy if we start putting in cards like we've talked about tonight. So we'll see.
True.
Yeah, we'll see. I expect it to still do pretty well. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm just trying to figure out why Mike Jim is so dead set on buying one of those promo Sabine cards. I feel like, and I know Sabine has been his girl for a long time. I just feel like he's working up a Sabine deck that he's going to surprise everybody with.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If he hears this, I want him to know we're watching. But honestly, Sabine has a good matchup against Mill. Like, I mean, as far as matchups go, discard her weapons. Who cares? She doesn't want them in her hand anyway. So I don't know. We'll see if Sabine makes a comeback, but I think Mill will still be strong. If it won again, I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see.
Could turn into Year of the Mill. Man, if it wins twice in a row, we're going to have to duct tape Ruben to something.
He's going to be pretty excited.
He will be. Which is cool. I love that an alternate win strategy is winning. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I like that we can mention that. Like we can actually it is a legit contender. Like for it to win a big event like that, it's a legit contender. It didn't just win something locally that was a different kind of meta.
Yeah.
Because you're pulling from so many different avenues.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some. Go ahead.
We didn't even talk about the runner-up, the Talzin Super Commando.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We didn't even talk about that deck. And if you want to see a really good write-up on that, head over to SWDB and Sid, the runner-up, put up a really good write-up talking about the deck, how to play it, matchup stuff like that. So yeah, head over there. We'll probably put this in the show notes so you can link it up.
I may need to change my strategy. I don't know. Like I do love the Gungans because I feel like that was made for me, but I may need to change strategies.
Quick side story.
Gungans look fun.
Quick side story. In a sealed event, I played with Jenna, and she pulled Bosnos and a Gungan in her packs. Yeah, and of course she ran it, and she was 2 health short of winning our pod for sealed event.
Wow.
Yeah, so Gungans are no joke, especially when you pull one and Bosnos.
That's awesome. Well, I think like when we spoiled him, everyone's like, "Oh well, that was kind of meh." But they're here, they're loud. Get used to it, I guess.
Especially in trilogy format.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to see Kylo paired with somebody win. I think.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
He's so aggro. I just want him to win something.
Did you get one of those promos? I meant to ask. Did you get one of the
Kylo?
I thought maybe you got to trade off with one or something.
I missed. No. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get one. I know most people just want to hawk them for a bunch of money right after the event, and then usually they go down in price. So
yeah,
I'll wait a little bit.
Did I see you bring an Afro home though?
Yeah, I got a.
I would have been sad had you not at least gotten your.
Yeah, I got the Afra. I got a Hidden Motive full art, which is really nice. But I'm going to complain a minute, FFG. This is kind of BS. The side of the cards are all marred, like it's all white, And that's how I got the card. And when I asked the guy if I did a different one, he said no. And I was a little upset about that. So, anyways.
Their promo cards are often kind of weird, actually, because they print them in-house. So I have a bunch of, like, miscut ones and stuff.
Oh, they're all a little bit bigger, too. So if you didn't play it sleeved, you'd
you have to sleeve it,
Oh, jeez.
And then I got this fan-made card as well, which is a Grievous, and he's super he's holographic, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
that's pretty cute.
Yeah, that's real fancy.
Yeah. Commando, thanks for the sub, buddy. Yeah, so that was that. All right, Kim,
sounds like a pretty good week. We got another good show next week. We're going to talk about Nova. We're going to have Pryce, who was one of the organizers of the event last year. I think he was on the show last year, too. He's a great guy. Cool. So be sure to tune in next week, too. Matt, thank you, buddy, for filling in for Jason this week. We love having you on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Thanks again, Matt. If people want to come talk to you about Star Wars Destiny, where can they find you?
Email is the easiest way, Matthew@thechancecube.com, or Facebook. If you send a message to the page, I will definitely get it or comment on the page or whatever.
Cool.
He handles all those cool Facebook posts you guys see, and he does a heck of a dang good job, too.
Hell of a job.
I do an okay job. I will tell you that I posted our, we're going live thing about halfway through the show, so confession time. I forgot to do that since I was actually on the show.
When you're on it, things, we have
when you're on it.
It's all good.
So, few little things, housekeeping. Make sure if you can afford it, go ahead up there and donate some money to the Nova Open Charitable Foundations. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, head over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias. We are at The Chance Cube. And until next week, we will see you on the mat. Peace.
This has been The Chance Cube, a Star Wars Destiny podcast, a non-profit organization dedicated to building community through gaming. Visit our website for all things Star Wars Destiny, including our Price Watch, Meta Tracker, and latest articles from the Chance Cube family. Find our latest videos on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and visit us at patreon.com/thechancecube. Your patronage allows us to grow this program and help us give back to the gaming community by sponsoring events, giveaways, and supporting our own community building initiatives. This is Mike Hill, the voice of the Chance Cube. Thanks for listening. The Chance Cube is not affiliated with Fantasy Flight Games, Lucasfilms, or the Walt Disney Company.